All right. Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. My name is Brian, and I'm here with Evan. No Ryan this week. And in this live stream, we will be rocking a Categories League mock draft. Here we go. All right. And we are live, fired up, excited for this week's mock draft. And it's very exciting that we don't have the chance to lose to Ryan this week. So, really great opportunity there. Just to give a quick little intro, guys, same categories league as the first time we went around. So, goals, assists, points, power play points, shots, hits, and blocks for players, and goalie cats. We're doing goalie wins, saves, and save percentage. Evan's going to be picking first. I'm at the 8th spot, and we're going to try to not pick the same guys we picked at the first categories mock league draft that we did. So, Evan, you're on the board. Why don't you start us off?
Yeah, we got no Ryan today. So it's going to be a little bit easier, I think. He's sniping all my picks, so this will be good to get into. It's going to be a fun time, man. And
yeah, and just while you're going ahead and picking here, I'd just like to pull up Blake Creamer here with the deep V. I didn't really have the deepest V, but try to give some love to previous mock drafts. We'll see, guys. We might get a really deep V by the end of the off season, I should say.
That's right. We actually got to wait till the 8:35 mark just to give ourselves some time here to talk about our prior team. So like you said, Brian, we're not going to be picking from our prior Cats League teams, kind of like we did with the first Points League mock draft. I'll briefly go over some of my guys that I had here. Centers, I had Sam Bennett, Joel Eriksson, John Tavares. Some of my wingers, Cutter Gauthier, Dylan Holloway, Clayton Keller, David Pasternak, Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck. My defenseman, Brant Clark, Cam Fowler, Shane Gostisbehere, and Mackenzie Weegar. And my bench players, Patrick Kane, Connor McMichael, Eli Tolvanen, Troy Terry, and Travis Sanheim, with goalies rounding out and Joey Decord and Igor Shesterkin. So I will not be able to get any of those guys, which does bum me out. I got some good category coverage guys there. I feel like I'm drafting Cutter Gauthier in every spot, but Joel Eriksson is tough. Mackenzie Weegar I still really like too, but How about you? What was your prior team looking like?
Yeah, Uyghur's a stud, man. Uyghur's a stud. It's gonna hurt not having him. Looking at my team here, I went Kucherov, Robertson, Bouchard, Kempe, Raymond, Robert Thomas, Verhage, Hamilton, Kreider, Cooley, Norris, Doughty, Kane, Kemper, Tony DeAngelo, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Lazone, Vamelka, and Marchment, and then Ben. So I know it's categories leagues, but I'm always biased. I love Robert Thomas just for the points here. Absolutely no peripherals, but I'm actually okay with this because I feel like I conceded the shot blocks and hits part of my team of those categories last time around. So it gives me a chance to kind of even the field, so to speak, and make my team a little bit deeper. So I'm actually okay with it.
Yeah, it's always exciting too, because I feel like when you can't draft the same players, you always kind of go back to a few. And then when you have the opportunity to kind of pick at some guys maybe you wouldn't have before, you're like taking a little bit of risk, but it gives you a little bit more of a kind of an open mindset, doing the drafts this early, like, well, maybe I would take this guy, like thinking into, your actual drafts a few months from now.
Well, honestly, another thing you got to take into mind is I feel like the first points draft I did wasn't great. So I was totally fine with not picking the same guys, and I had a much better team the second time around. So fingers crossed that's the same thing with this draft. We're got to wait to see, though.
Yeah, and with Ryan not here, it's just going to be that much easier. I do miss him. He's part of our trio, but this time maybe one of us can come out with the top team when they put the poll out, considering we're the only two options.
We'll see. I hope so.
Let's see. We got some more comments as we wait on the first pick. Chris Hollywood in here. And it seems like I am on the clock. And I gave myself the number 1 overall pick, of course, as you would when you're commissioner of the league. and I will take Nathan McKinnon. I had a good discussion with one of my buddies from my league today about, is Nathan McKinnon really the guy to go number 1 overall over McDavid? And I feel like it's a good discussion. We kind of looked at some of McDavid's prior seasons, and the one season when he had, the 140 points, the 50, 60 goals, you're wondering if he can get back to that. And I'm not sure that he is, in my mind. I still think McKinnon is going to, especially for category coverage, is going to shoot more. He's going to get more blocks. The power play points probably around even, and McDavid's likely to have more assists, but I still think McKinnon is the guy to go to with number 1. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have to agree for everything you just said. And also I'm thinking of something Nate said earlier. I think it was the first Cats mock we did, or maybe it was the first points mock. And he was just saying that the power play in Edmonton has been slowly declining, I guess, over the years. So that's kind of something you always want McDavid for, is those power play points guaranteed. He's going to still put up a lot for sure. But I think a safer bet would be to go with McKinnon. So yeah, I like McKinnon. I don't think you can go wrong with McDavid, but I would think I'd take McKinnon also at the 1 spot.
Awesome. And you're coming up on your pick. I'll recap. So I went Nathan McKinnon with the 1-1. We got Connor McDavid going number 2, Nikita Kucherov number 3, Leon Draisaitl number 4, Austin Matthews number 5, Cale Makar at number 6. I do think it's interesting. Austin Matthews going ahead of Makar, but in a category coverage league, I can see it. It's really just about that consistency of his health going into it. He's a great player, and I think he can get back to it. The question as well of will he perform at the level that he is capable without Marner? I think there's some questions going into that as well. After Cale Makar at the 6, we got David Pastrnak at the 7. And then you go with Brady Tkachuk, category king.
Yeah,
Brian.
Absolutely. Yeah, I took Brady Tkachuk with my first roll in the points league, but Ryan's not here. He said the exact same thing. He wrote a couple of guys from the mock draft previously. I'm going to do the same thing. It's not a categories league pick from the week before that, but Brady Tkachuk, you can't go wrong. He's a chucker. He throws a lot of hits. He shoots a lot. And if only he can convert a little bit more, it would go a very long way. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think Ottawa's an up-and-coming team. I think they've got a lot of talent, and he's going to be at the helm with that. So, very happy with the pick at 8 there for Brady Tkachuk.
And so is Blake. Brady at 8 is amazing, and I would agree with that. We got some good comments coming in as well, and I think this is, again, part of the good argument. Taco Tuesday, no chance I'm passing up contract year McDavid. It's a great point. I still think it was a tough decision, but I can't do it. I need Nady Mac. He's an absolute dog, and he wants to be out there to score those empty netters whenever possible. Tkachuk went 4th overall in my league last year, and that team won the whole thing. That's a good point. He's a great category coverage guy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I guess McDavid, though, to that point, contract year, but he's probably just going to end up on the Leafs, right? So we don't I wish.
Don't even need to talk about it. Yeah.
Don't even need to talk about it. Just to recap, after I went with Brady Tkachuk at the 8, we got Kyle Connor, Jack Hughes, Kirill the Thrill, Kaprizov, and now we're at the 112 spot where Mikko Rantanen gets taken. Interesting. Evan, I want to know your thoughts here, because I know Mikko Rantanen obviously going at the end of the first round in this mock draft. Last week we did a points league, and I think he got drafted in the 3rd round. Is that surprising to you? Like, what are your thoughts on that, I guess?
I feel like Mikko Rantanen's going to be a polarizing player heading into drafts this year, because no one is really for sure on where he's going to end up landing with his point total, his time on ice. You have to feel like he's going to get, the most minutes he can on Dallas, but the most minutes on Dallas might be 18 minutes versus, the 22, 23 he got in Colorado. And if he's not on the ice, he can't put up the points, So I feel like 80 to 90 point Rantanen is pretty solid. I don't think he gets back to 100 points. So yeah, I'm not trying to, take him this high personally, but I can see an argument for it, especially in like the early 2nd. But what are your thoughts real quick on that before you get to your pick?
Yeah, I'm coming up here in a couple picks, but Rantanen, I think like Dallas especially, they have so much talent across the board, and they just typically will be rolling their lines. I know they got a new coach, so that could be a little different, but I feel like I'd feel more comfortable drafting him a little bit later. I think there are a couple of studs you might have been able to get before Rantanen, but regardless, he's going to put up, I think Ryan talked about this too, with his projections around 80 to 90 points. Can't go wrong with that. He's a workhorse. He's a mule. So happy with that. I'm on the clock now, so I'm going to think about this.
Yeah, we got Killer Beast in here saying Kyle Connor at 9, and I do think that's kind of a stretch for him. Although he's a great pick, but that high is a lot. Then going at the 10 was Jack Hughes, 11 Kirill Kaprizov, 12 Mikko Rantanen. The 2-1 we got Dahlin, 2-2 Reinhart, 2-3 Forsberg, 2-4 Marner, and you go with Zach Werenski, Brian.
Love me some Zach Werenski. Like the guy shoots a ton. He shoots like he's playing like left wing, right wing. He shoots so much. Blocks a lot as a defenseman. We saw his breakout year last year, put up a ton of points. He drives the offense in Columbus. I really want to also value guys early in the draft who shoot a lot and give me some peripherals like a block or a hit. So Brady Tkachuk covers the hits pretty well so far. So I'm happy with Werenski. He does block a fair bit, and he's going to put up a lot of points for me.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love Zach Werenski. It's such a strange spot because, we all kind of thought he had this potential, even a few years back, and then he finally blasts off and gets it for his first year. But I know a lot of people are still kind of concerned about the injury narrative or can he repeat it? But I think he's the number one D-man there. He's going to shoot the puck. He's going to get all the opportunity in the world. So I think it is a great pick.
But you can also make that argument about a lot of guys like Kaprizov is hurt every year. Matthews is hurt every year, but you're not going to not draft them, right? You don't really want to buy into that narrative. So, yeah, I feel good about that. And then real quick here, where'd we go? Where did we stop? We stopped at Dahlin at the 2-1. We went Reinhart, Forsberg, Marner. I went with Werenski, followed by Eichel and Willie Stiles, Nylander, and then Quinn Hughes. And we got another defenseman off the board here. So 4 defensemen off the board. And I'm going to pull up this right here real quick. I got to stop pulling up Blake's comments. I just realized I've pulled up both of this. But Cap is going to blast off for sure. Yeah, couldn't agree more. I saw someone else post in the chat here that Kaprizov not going in the top 10 is criminal. And, you could argue that is criminal because he is well above a point per game when he is playing. But it's really interesting just to kind of think like maybe people are taking the injury narrative up into their thoughts here when they're drafting. So, can't really argue that. What we got after Quinn Hughes, the 2-8, we went Bouchard, Uyghur. Sorry, Evan, you can't draft him anyways. We had Cider at the 2-11. Evan went with Panarin at the 2-12, and then he's up again.
I'm trying to look and see where I just wanted to make sure I didn't draft them in this categories league as well.
Oh, yeah, I haven't even looked at that. That's a good point. I'm going to give a little bit of love here to Lucio. So I appreciate that. The Brady Werenski stack. Got to give a little love to myself. Appreciate it. Let's keep that in mind when we decide to go into the polls to vote for who has the best team. But Evan, talk to me about Panarin and Robo Robertson.
Yeah, I felt pretty good about it. I thought the pick after Dream Killer, another really solid pick with JT Miller. I think that New York is due for a big bounce back. In our first points league, I took a lot of New York stack as well with Zibanejad and Fox, but I think they're going to have a bounce back. It's just they're too good of a roster and too good of a team. So I think Panarin's floor is pretty much set at point per game, and we've seen his ceiling close to 120 points. So I think he can try and get back there. As far as Jason Robertson, we kind of talked about it off air. We want to get the left wingers, because they're kind of scarce in these formats. So I went with J-Rob. I think he still can get point per game with higher upside with Rantanen and Rupe Hintz on that top power play. So I do really like that going for my first 3 picks.
Yeah, absolutely. I do really like the Panarin pick. I think that obviously absolutely no peripherals, but he's going to put up a lot of points. And even in categories leagues, you need points. The offense does run through him. So I like that pick. I think he's due for a bounce back year. He had a little bit of a down year, as did the entire Ranger team. I actually talked about Panarin with Blake a couple weeks ago, and that's kind of the points I brought up. So for me, though, Robertson, like you're not going to not draft Robertson, but for me, I feel like I just want to stay away from Dallas. I don't really want to say that either because they got so much talent, but you don't really know how it's going to shake out yet. So to me, that's the only asterisk I might put. But aside from that, solid picks.
Yeah, I'll give you some opportunity to kind of study coming up on your pick. I think I'm with you on the Dallas thing, other than I feel like Jason Robertson is like pretty much the one guy that I kind of single out there because you can get him in the third round, sometimes even slightly later in some leagues. And I feel like he's going to be a point per game player. So like Rantanen and J-Rob could end up with very similar point totals. And I just got him in the third round. So that's kind of my thought process going into it. But I do love JT Miller there at the 3-2. And so does Lucio Mancuso sleeping on JT Miller. He's going to get category coverage as well. We got this comment, Waiver getting the respect he deserves, going in the second from Tanner Clydesdale. Agree. Let's see, more Blake. Rantanen probably one of my guys this season too, so he's on the Rantanen train. And then so after JT Miller, we get Tim Stützle at the 3-3, Tage Thompson at the 3-4, Matt Boldy at the 3-5, Marty Nikas at the 3-6. And then your pick is coming up after this, Brian. We got Jake Gensel at the 3-7. That's a really good pick. It's a good snipe. I was thinking about taking him over J-Rob actually, but the comparison between those two players to me is pretty similar. I think we know what Jake Gensel is. I don't think his ceiling is as high as Jason Robertson in any given year. He's going to get all the time in the top power play in Tampa and playing with Nikita Kucherov, obviously. So he's still really good. He's going to get 40 goals, 40 assists. He can book it. Jason Robertson, I feel like, again, close to that, but we've seen him get more. We've seen him get over that 100-point threshold. So you go Clayton Keller at the 3-8. Talk to us about that, Brian.
Yeah, Clayton Keller. I was looking at the previous drafts. See, he's gone in around this area each time in the category league. But Clayton Keller, obviously, a lot of great players on Utah, but he obviously drives the offense. I think he's a great pick. He's going to give me a lot of peripherals. Not a lot of peripherals, absolutely no peripherals. He's going to give me a lot of points. And at this point in the draft, I'm really still looking for guys who have the highest point upside, with obviously taking into consideration some guys that are going to give me some peripherals. So like I went Kachuk, Werenski, they give me peripherals, but Keller's bound to give me a lot of points. Utah is definitely on the up, so I feel pretty good about that pick. I did really want to pick Gensel, and of course, you sniped literally the pick before me. We got to double check that that's not actually Ryan drafting. So, but just the Gensel pick, I really like it. I think we talk about this every single week, but Tampa is such a great place to play for fantasy, really, because they put up a ton of points. Their power play is always lethal with Cooch at the helm, so really, really like that pick there. And I'm going to now think about my next pick, so I'm going to let you take the floor here.
Yeah, no, I love Clayton Keller. I drafted him. I believe it was one of our points leagues that I got him last time, but I mean, he's like the quietest 90 points you'll ever see in the NHL. Like, I don't think anyone ever talks about him. Plus, he shoots quite a bit. So I really don't hate on that pick at all. He's just not a big name, and that's kind of the thing about it. But so we got Clayton Keller at the 3-8. We got Victor Hedman at the 3-9. Jesper Bratt at the 3-10. Jake Sanderson at the 3-11 is pretty high, but in the Cats League, he does provide that category coverage, so I do like that. Braden Point at the 3-12. Then we got Sid the Kid Crosby dropping to the 4th round in categories leagues. You never thought you'd see it, but we're getting old. Matthew Tkachuk at the 4-2. Still, again, concerned about his potential injury status, but still a great category coverage player. Then we got Josh Morrissey after that at the 4-3. Barkov at the 4-4. We're starting to get into this territory where you get some point per game guys. You're looking at centers. You're looking at some of these higher end, but not the top tier defensemen. And you go with Brandon Hagel because you couldn't get Jake Gensel at the 4-5, Brian.
Yeah. Honestly, that's really a part of it. I think I think Hagel obviously showed what he's capable of last year. I do want a piece of Tampa, and I think we talked about this right before we started here, and I think it's really important to get some high-level talent on the left wing, because I feel like that's in very much a short supply. I guess it's a shorter supply than the right wings or centers that I've seen. So, I just really wanted to get in on some Hagel there. I was thinking about another couple other guys, and hindsight might have been a little bit of a panic pick, but who knows? I'm not going to tell you who, because they might come back to me in the 5th round, so I might be able to save myself some face there.
Absolutely. Don't want to give away your picks. Not for free anyways. Then we got Adam Fox after that at the 4-6. I like that. I really like Hagel. I think he is an incredible rush player, and if they just stick him on that top power play and he sticks, he's going to get even more points. So I think that's a great pick. Then we got Nick Suzuki at the 4-7. Interesting pick there. He did really well last year in a career year. Let's get into some comments here. I like this is a good argument. Bratt over Keller. My personal take would still have Keller over Jesper Bratt. I just think that his potential to run the offense in Utah is just everything goes through him. He's going to be the guy. Jesper Bratt is a great facilitator, and I love the player. It's him, Nico Hischier, and Jack Hughes. But I think he's more kind of that supplementary piece to those guys. What do you think, Brian?
You know what? I'm going to disagree, actually. I know we got a disagreement. Yeah, no, I'm going to disagree because especially in a Cats league, I think Jesper Bratt is an excellent player. He puts up a lot of points, which is great, especially on a team that is as fragile as the Devils. There's always injuries. There's probably going to be this year. Knock on wood for Jack Hughes. But honestly, he also throws hits. I think he averages like a hit a game, which is really surprising to me because he doesn't look like the type of player who would be that physical. But in a categories league, I would actually prefer Bratt over. I picked him. That's true. So personally, just because of the peripherals that you're bound to get as well.
Absolutely. I'll kind of let you recap here as I'm getting into my pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to see who I can take back to back.
Yeah, you go do that, and I forget where we left off, but I'll just rewind a little bit here. So I went with Hagel, and we got Fox at 4-6, Suzuki, Raymond, Yossi in the 4-9 spot, which is kind of interesting. Very obviously an absolute stud. We'll hope to see Nashville bouncing back, and then we got Drake Batherson, Raquel. I think that's how Blake says it. So at the 4-11, Evan is up here next. And then just going to pull up a comment here while Evan takes his pick here. I'll take Sid in the 4th every day. Yeah, me too. I was actually eyeing him. Sad to see him go. But you know what? I'm also okay with that because I like to fade centers, but he's a stud. He's a stud on a very sad Pittsburgh team. Really wish he would get traded, but it is what it is. So at the 4-12, we got Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis. I love that. And then Dorofeyev. Evan, talk to us about your picks.
Yeah, I went with the Carolina stack. They're similar to Dallas in a way where you kind of are scared taking some of their players because you don't know what ice time they're going to get. Rob Brindamore really likes to spread it out there, but I took two of the guys that are really mainstays and going to get the time there, and that's Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis. Aho is just very consistent. I love getting very consistent players. I know I'm going to get point per game Aho. If he has a really good year, sometimes he gets up to the 90-point threshold. He's going to shoot. And then Jarvis going with him, I think he has room for a little more. I think Nate and Blake talked about it on their projection show with Carolina, as I do believe that Seth Jarvis has another gear to his game. They kind of move around the lines a little bit. But I really hope he can get some more consistent deployment with Nick Ehlers and Sebastian Aho. But I like the stack right now. And I'll kind of let you keep going here. I see that furrowed brow. I know you're really getting into the pick here, Brian, so I'm going to let you do that. We got Pavel Dorofeyev going 5-2 after my Seth Jarvis pick. Really love Dorofeyev going to this next year. I think he's going to stay on that top power play and pot close to 40 goals, if not more. We got Miguel Sergachev going at the 5-3, another really good pick for a defenseman. We got Celebrini going at the 5-4, and I did consider taking him over Aho, which is crazy to say, but I think in San Jose, he's been given the keys to kind of run that team and going to continue his development into a really good player. We've seen it already in his rookie year. And then we got Thomas Harley at the 5-5. Always interesting for me to see Thomas Harley go as high as he is in these drafts, just because we're still uncertain about where, the top power play quarterback is going to end up between him and Miro Heiskanen. But I do think he's proved that he is the best option there. Remains to be seen if the new coach in Dallas is going to deploy him that way. Dylan Holloway at the 5-6, great category coverage guy. Wyatt Johnson at the 5-7, and Brian, you go with Timo Meier, and I love that pick. He was on my queue. I was hoping to get him on the way back around.
Yeah, you know what? That is exactly who I thought I should have picked last round. So I'm very happy to see that he is still available. Yeah, category league, like Timo Meyer, it's Timo time every time. If only he can get onto the power play, that could make all the difference in the world. But regardless, he's still going to hit, he's still going to shoot. He definitely hurt me a lot when I played against him last year. And you think, like, come on, he's not even on the top power play. Why is he doing this much damage to me in a Cats league? But it is what it is. I needed a little bit of Timo time on my team. So happy there with that pick. After I went with Timo, we got Ovi, another guy who's eyeing. But what do you think of the Ovi pick at the 5'9" spot?
I love him there at the 5'9", actually. In points leagues, I feel like Ovi might fall a little bit more, but in the categories league, I still think he's going to shoot. I mean, even if they decrease his even strength ice time and only put him out there for the power play minutes, he's still going to shoot. I have this theory in my mind that he's going for 1,000 goals somehow, some way. He's just an animal, breaks his leg, comes back, and has an amazing season like that. I don't think he's truly over, but you've definitely seen the decline in his skating game. But his shot has not shown any signs of slowing down. So I do like, and he's still going to hit at least a bit. But it is, I'm just like, I feel like I'm growing gray hair as we're going through this mock draft when Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin are going in the 4 and 5. But yeah, what do you think? What do you think about Ovi in this spot?
Listen, father time comes for us all, but we've been saying that Ovi is going to be having a massive decline for the past 4 years. He keeps scoring, so I don't know. Until he actually does stop scoring, or he stops hitting, he stops shooting. That's when I'll stay away from him. So I like it. I like the pick of Ovi because you're also going to get. It's all category league, right? You want to see someone that's going to cover the peripherals as well. Ovi does that. So I really like it. And we already know the power play still runs through him. He's got that shot. Yeah, he can't skate as well. Fine. He doesn't need to skate. He's never skated in his 20 years of playing the league when he's on the power play. If you see him, he moves a foot and a half. So as long as he can just be a power play merchant, fire some shots, it's gonna be worth it at the 5'9" for sure.
And he still rips it too. It's crazy because you think every time like the goalie's going to be ready and move over super quick, but he's not always going short side. Sometimes he goes far side. So the goalie has to pick a side, and then whatever side they pick, he still scores. So it's crazy to watch.
Yeah, I don't think that's too far fetched to say that Obi's going for 1,000 goals, because why not? Have you seen the guy has the craziest dad bod ever, and he's still lighting up the league. So if you want to take it seriously, lay off a couple of the Bud Lights, he'll still be crushing the league. So I'm all for Ovi. Very interesting to see what the Caps are going to be like, because we was kind of up in the air last year. They had a great season, but I still think that they love Ovi. They're going to utilize Ovi where they can. So yeah, I'm okay with it.
Absolutely. And then we can kind of recap a bit more. I feel like this is a really good run for 3 picks here in the late 5th round. We got Adrian Kempe going at the 5'10", great category coverage guy as well, with hits, shots, and goals, power play points. Vincent Trocheck at the 5'11", same thing, shots, hits, blocks. I'm assuming he's going to get a few more goals even this year once he gets back on that top power play. Seth Jones at the 5'12", very good too. Probably one of the best defensemen left in the 5th round. Carter Verhaeghe, a fan favorite at Apples and Ginos, going at the 6'1". I like that. Nico Hischier at 6'2" is really good. Any recap on any of those quick before your pick, Brian?
Yeah, I think Trocheck, I still don't know if he's going to be on the top power play. I would like him to be on the top power play. I think 2 years ago, I think that might be his career highs 2 years ago. It was when he was on the top power play. He's playing with Panarin. He was playing with Lafreniere. Excellent chemistry there. So if I can see him back on the top power play, I think their power play is going to get a lot better. He's a lock for winning faceoffs, which is great when your team has the puck. And then he's going to get some assists off that. So yeah, I like the shot at Trocheck at the 5'11". He covers everything. The best thing is when you look at your players' categories that they filled out, and Trocheck, it's 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, power play, shot, hit. Like, he does it all. So yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. And then we'll kind of let you think about your pick here. Going back to some of the comments, Lucio again, favorite under 23-year-old fantasy this year, forward and D. It's a good thought. And then we got Asian Orange saying Wyatt Johnson and Lane Hudson, really good picks. I can't really disagree with that at all. Lucio going back saying Minor, Gunther, and Sanderson. Both really good options as well. Jordan Z chipping in with a Nyes for me. I think it's going to be interesting to see what Matthew Nyes does this year with Marner's departure, and I feel like he's going to be stapled to Austin Matthews. So that's really good for his value. Going through some more, I had Gunther last season on my team, also a good shout. Very good, very good. Clyde's with some praise for Noodle. Nico in the 6 is insane work. He was going even later in some of our other drafts, like in the 7th, maybe even later. And that is crazy considering how good of a year he had last year. I think that he did a really good job. Brian, you go real quick. A recap. We went Nico Heishier at the 6'2", Lane Hudson at the 6'3". We're just talking about him. Jordan Kyrou at the 6'4", and you go with Andrei Svechnikov. Great. You're getting a lot of category coverage here with Timo Meier, Svechnikov. Wow.
It's a lesson learned from last time. So, it's great having that the mock draft from the week before, because I know I can't pick these guys, but I want to make a habit to pick some guys that give me some peripherals. And, Timo and Svech give me both of those. So I know Svech has had some difficulties, staying healthy over the last couple of years, but he plays a physical game, and that's exactly what you're looking for in a category league. If you listen to the most recent episode that Blake and Nate were talking about, they talk about Svechnikov, his potential. I think an improved Carolina power play could lend him a lot of extra points as well. Getting someone hopefully in like the 70-point range in the 6th round, I'm okay with that. And he throws the body, shoots the puck. So, I'm excited, hoping for the best here.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. After Svech, speaking of Matthew Nyes, he goes with the 6'6". Speaking of Dylan Gunther, he goes with 6'7". And then Tomas Hertl goes at the 6'8". Evan, before you come up on your pick, who's your preference, Gunther or Nyes? We're going to put you on the spot.
That's a pretty easy one. He threw me a softball, which I can appreciate. It's definitely going to be Dylan Gunther for me. The guy is an absolute monster. He's how old is he? I think he's only 22-ish. But anyways, he's going to be the main shooter on that Utah power play. I would not be surprised to see him get like a 30-30, way more, even like a 35-30 season, like a bunch on the power play. So I really love Gunther for that.
All right. You heard it here, folks. Go with Gunther. After Hertl, we went with Cole Caulfield and Elias Pettersson at the 6'10". Not too surprised I know he had such a bad year last year. We know that. But I'm surprised he actually fell to the 6th round. I totally forgot about him. It is what it is. After Pettersson went Konechny and then Shea Theodore at the 6'12". Evan's just thinking about his 7'1" spot. But focusing on Elias Pettersson, because I think it's pretty interesting. I think if Vancouver has any hope of improving over last year, Elias Pettersson's going to have to be a focal point of offense alongside Quinn Hughes. So I can definitely see a big impact from him. Not to mention, he also blocks and hits a lot, which is why he was going up pretty early in drafts over the past couple years. So I really like that. Evan goes to Mishkov at the 7'1". Before you talk about your picks, what do you think about Elias Pettersson? What do you think he's going to slot in?
Elias Pettersson's kind of that risky pick, but in the 6th round, it's pretty good. I mean, you think about this, he was going in the 1st round, a few years ago for draft. So, there is a world in which Elias Pettersson can get back to that 90-point range, but I don't know that it's going to be this year. They still got him, Besser, and Quinn Hughes, and when you have those three on a top power play, I don't think you can discount it. He's too risky of a pick for me, I think, even here at the center spot, just because there's so many centers available. But it could be a very smart pick. It's going to be somewhere someone takes him, in later rounds in your draft, and if he goes off, it's going to make you look silly, honestly.
Yeah. So if you were picking in the 6th round, 7th round, you want to pick a center, who would you go with? No, I'm joking. Just joking. Just see if I can get someone out of Evan, guys. After Mishkov went with Tavares, Fiala, Tuck, and then Marchenko. I guess my pick is coming up, but Evan, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your Shea Theodore and Mishkov?
Sure, yeah, I go Shea Theodore just because I saw someone chirp me in the comments, when are you going to get a D-man? And I had to do it. The pressure was on. Shea Theodore to me is a really good option in the mid to later rounds for a top power play quarterback. If he can only stay healthy for a full season, I think he could get 60, 70 points easily. He doesn't do a lot of hitting or blocking, but he'll get shots, he'll get assists, and he'll get power play points. And for a defenseman, that's pretty good. Michkov, I go with here too. I'm really high on Michkov this year. I think that even with Rick Tocchet coming in, he's going to be given the keys. He is going to continue to do what he did near the end of the year and just take off. He's going to get a ton of points. He's going to get shots and goals. I'm a big fan of Michkov. After that, we go John Tavares at the 7-2, then Kevin Fiala at the 7-3. I like both of those picks. Alex Tuck at the 7-4, who I think I would have taken over Michkov had I had the opportunity. Unfortunately, I drafted him in our prior categories league, so that is a great pick. 7-5, we got Marchenko, and at the 7-6, we got Dougie Hamilton. Dougie Hamilton, to me, is an interesting one. I really still think that Luke Hughes is going to be taking over for him. I'm not sure when. It might not be at the start of the season. It's going to be at some point during the season. We all know that because it happened for the past few years. But he's still going to shoot with Dougie. He's still going to get power play points, even if he does get traded or if he's on the second power play. I think you can still pencil him in for a minimum 30 to 40 points with great shots. But it's weird what they did with his even ice strength time. Sheldon Keefe did for Dougie Hamilton. So I'm curious to see what they do this year. And then we got at the 7-7, Noah Dobson. Great pick for a defenseman still because he's going to get hits, blocks, shots. Even though he's not going to get that top power play from Lane Hudson, he's still a really good option on defense. He's going to get, I would say, at a floor close to 40 points with good peripherals. And this is an interesting one, Brian. Now you go with Charlie McAvoy from Boston at the 7-8. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm. I was looking through all the picks and I realized that there's so many forwards still available, like great forwards that's going to fill my roster. But I haven't picked a defense since Werenski early in the second round. I'm thinking, you know what? I want someone that gives me the peripherals. Obviously, he's going to be healthy this year. He might have been able to fall a little bit further, so I could have taken him a little bit further. But I like McAvoy. He does a lot on the back end. Probably still the power play quarterback. I don't think that's going to change this year. We'll have to wait and see. But I think Boston's going to have a little bit of a bounce back. They won't. They're not making playoffs. I don't think they're going to make playoffs, but I don't think they're as bad as everyone thinks either. And I think he's going to be a part of that offense, obviously alongside Pasta. But yeah, that's why I kind of went with McAvoy. Why you don't like the pick?
I'll give you a little discourse here because Ryan's not here to give me any banter. So yeah, I feel like I was super high on McAvoy like 2-3 years ago, and I feel like he always went fairly late. And I saw him as a top power play quarterback on Boston. I felt like he could easily get to the 50-60 point range. He still hits and he blocks a decent amount as well. I don't know what it is with him. I think it's part of the reason is he hasn't had a healthy full season in a few years, and I just don't think he has the offensive ceiling to kind of get to where I want him. But in a category coverage league, he is in a better spot. I'll say that as opposed to a points league. But that's just kind of my personal thoughts on McAvoy.
Yeah, I mean, can't argue with that. And then so obviously between him and Uyghur, you take Uyghur years in advance, all day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just, Uyghur's getting the 200 in shots, hits, blocks. McAvoy probably getting the mid 100s for blocks, shots, and probably lower even on hits. But he's a really good, actual NHL player defenseman, obviously on Team USA and stuff. He's a really good defenseman. It's just for fantasy purposes, I'm not as high on him.
Yeah, that's totally fair. After McAvoy went at the 7-8, we've got John Carlson, Dylan Larkin, JJ Peterka, Nikolai Ehlers, and then Connor Bedard. I was actually thinking picking Ehlers instead of a defenseman, just because I don't know if you listened to the most recent podcast, but Nate and Blake were talking about, Ehlers having a potential 90-point season, probably not in Carolina. I'm thinking, I could definitely use that on this team. But no, I went with the defenseman. I just went over that why I did, but I love the Ehlers pick. Love the Bedard pick. He's due for a bounce back. I don't know how much better Chicago's going to be, if at all, but he'll be a little bit better.
Yeah, I would totally agree. It's funny. I totally agree. I listened to the episode, I think yesterday. Nate and Blake are in our heads, man. We're just, we're thinking about Carolina. I draft 2 Carolina players. I was thinking about Ehlers too, but I can't take a third one. But no, I do think Ehlers is in a really good spot to prove himself if he stays healthy and get that top line deployment. And yeah, Connor Bedard in the 8th round is ridiculous. I think he could easily go off, point per game or higher, and it would not surprise me if things just click for him this year. Chikrin at the 8-2 is really good. I question whether or not Chikrin is going to overtake John Carlson this year for top power play. Maybe not, but I think he is ultimately the better option. His shot is absolutely lethal when you see those goals that he scored, double-digit goals. The man just fires the puck. He's got a ridiculous wrist shot. Connor Hellebuck, our first goalie, goes at the 8-3, 0G here. But we also love Connor Hellebuck. He is, as we've said in previous mocks, he's the unicorn of goalies. He does it all, especially during the regular season. So I don't hate that really in the 8th round. And then we got Robert Thomas, your boy, going at the 8-4. And then you go Joel Eriksson at the 8-5, which I absolutely love. I cannot draft him because I drafted in the prior cast league. So great pick on that, Brian. Gotta give you your props.
Yeah, again, another guy that does a lot for you. Again, if he can stay healthy, I think he's definitely got some upside in points, but he's going to get you all the peripherals as well. So definitely learned my lesson the last time around, picking players that give me no peripherals and a lot of point upsides. And I think in a Cats league, you got to have that balance. So yeah, as long as he stays healthy, which I might be a stretch, that's a lock here for me at the 8-5. After what with Joel Eriksson Ek, Jeek, we got Mark Scheifele going to the 8-6. Talk to me a little bit about Mark Scheifele. How do you think he's going to be doing this year? You think he's going to have similar points as he did last year? You think he's going to take a step back? What are your thoughts?
I think he's going to be the same. I feel like if you look at Mark Scheifele's totals, like year in, year out, they're kind of like very similar. Like here, I'm going to try and pull them up real quick. I feel like he is just he is
quietly puts up great numbers.
Yeah, so going back to his stats real quick. So last year he had 87 points in 82 games. The year before that, 72 points, 74 games, 68 points in 81, 70 points in 67. So he has missed some time due to injury, but I mean, he's pretty much point per game player. He's established that. And I think that he stayed healthy and he had a really good run. And I think the consistency too. Gabe Vilardi was healthy for much of the year, and that line of Gabe Vilardi, Mark Scheifele, and Kyle Connor just absolutely cooked, and their power play. And I think it will continue going into that.
Yeah, right on. Especially with Vilardi, obviously, I love Vilardi as a player. It's very hit and miss. He's either putting up like 3 points a game, he's put up absolutely nothing. So that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. But yeah, I like Mark Scheifele. Every year he goes quietly unnoticed, and he still puts up great numbers, so can't complain about that. After Scheifele, you've got Tom Wilson finally going at the 8-7. I saw someone in the comments was saying, oh, here it is. Tom Wilson is still available in the 8. This is nuts. Yeah. So there he goes at the 8-8. Zach Hyman at the 8-9. We got Nichushkin coming in at the 8-10, and then Brandon Montour coming at the 8-11. So Evan's on the clock now. He's thinking of his 2 picks because he's got the 8-12 and the 9-1. Goes with Luke Hughes. Very interesting. When you're ready, Evan, I'll ask you a question. Differentiate him between him and Dougie Hamilton, but give you plenty of time so you can think here. Oh my gosh, never mind. You went with the absolute Kiefer Sherwood. So I guess you don't need to look at any more hits because you have all the hits covered with Kiefer Sherwood.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. He went pretty late in our prior Cats League draft too. I would say he's a Tom Wilson light, but it's kind of the opposite now. Tom Wilson gets a little bit more on the production side, but Kiefer Sherwood is easily going to get the most hits in the league. He did it last year and by a wide margin. So he's going to get me that 400 plus hits. You would have to imagine he shoots the puck pretty well too, and he ended up with 40 points last year. So you take a 40-point dual eligible winger with 400 hits. I don't hate it. For my defensive pick, it kind of could be seen in a Cats league as too high, but I'm really high on Luke Hughes. Him and Michkov, I feel like, are just one of those players that you have to be in on, because when he does get that top line, top power play deployment, and I think it could be this year, you could be looking at, a 70-point defenseman, in the 8th round. which I wouldn't hate at all. And he's going to get all those power play points. So I'll take it. You're coming up here too, Brian. So I'll kind of recap after I took Kiefer Beefwood at the 9-1. We got Andre Vasilevsky at the 9-2, Davon Tays at the 9-3, Vince Dunn at the 9-4, and the Eggman, as you call them, Darnell Nurse at the 9-5. So that's looking pretty good. I kind of wanted to go back a little bit into the 8th round here, looking at some of these picks as I was kind of focused in on mine. Tom Wilson up there after Scheifele was a really good pick. Sam Bennett, wish I could have taken him again too. I took him in the prior cats. Zach Hyman and Valerie Nichushkin, both great picks and due for bounce back seasons. I think Zach Hyman is going to get back to kind of that 30 goal, 60-point territory this upcoming year. So getting him this late with also the shots and hits is good. Valerie Nichushkin, same thing. If he's healthy and can stay off the snow dust, then he'll be in a great spot this year. Brandon Montour and Vince Dunn kind of going within the same rounds of each other. Seattle, again, with that split power play still. I think Brandon Montour actually offers slightly more value at this point than Vince Dunn. Vince Dunn being a great even strength defenseman. But I feel like on the power play, Brandon Montour did more work, and he had a lot more multi-point games, which he really went off and can help your team. After Darnell Nurse, we got Rupe Hintz at the 9-6, and then Mika Zibanejad at the 9-7. Brian, you go with one of my hometown favorites, Alex DeBrincat, who I was also looking at between Sherwood.
Yeah, I just thought I'm surprised DeBrincat, it was available at the 9-8. He put up almost point per game numbers last year. I'm just happy to pick someone up who's going to be on the top power play, going to get me a lot of goals, shoots the puck. It's honestly that simple. It's kind of why I went with it. What do you think of that pick?
I love the pick. Yeah, I considered taking him over Luke Hughes. It's one of those things, as you say, Blake says it too, you got to get your guys. Even again, this is like a Cats League format, but DeBrincat, I mean, he shoots the puck. I remember at the start of the year, and this is kind of always how the Red Wings just go in general, but their first 10 games, they're on fire. They were lighting the world on fire, and DeBrincat was a big part of that. I think he had like 11 points in the first 5 games or something with a ton of goals. So I really do like that pick. Very good.
Right on. And also, one thing I just want to say, because we already passed it, but we got some time to the next pick. The Luke Hughes pick, just to your point, you go and get your guy, because we've been talking about it for 2 years that we might supplant, Dougie Hamilton, and you definitely don't want to be left in the dust when he does take that over. So to be honest, if you're getting any hate, I actually love the pick, because who knows, if this is a year, that's a winner for you. That's fantastic.
You want to be on the Hughes brothers. That's just a rule.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. After I went to DeBrincat, went with Slavkovsky at the 9-9, Nazem Kadri, Dylan Strome, and then Brock Besser goes to the 9-12. Evan, I'm going to think of my pick here, so I'm going to let you take over for a second here.
Sure. Yeah, so after DeBrincat, Slavkovsky goes at the 9-9. I'm curious how Demidov is going to affect Slavkovsky. I don't think he's going to take over Slavkovsky's spot on the top power play, just because it's such a different role. I feel like Slavkovsky's that banger, kind of net front, working it back. So I don't think that's going to happen. And I don't know what they're going to do with their top line. I can see it in the future where Demidov is kind of taking some of Slav's minutes. But for the time being, I really do like it. And he hits, he shoots. So it's a really good category coverage pick there. Nazem Kadri, always a really good player, severely underrated. Book him for 60 points, get him over 200 shots. He's going to get the power play points as well. I think Calgary can get a little bit better this year, and if they do, he's going to be a part of it. Dylan Strome is a really weird player just because of how well he did last year, but he doesn't really shoot. He doesn't hit. He doesn't block. I'm not in on Dylan Strome as some might be, but still a good center to get in the 9th round here. And then Brock Besser going at the 9-12 is really good. I think a lot of people saw him for his kind of 40-goal season 2 years ago with the rest of Vancouver. And, I really do like Brock Besser. I don't know how close he gets back to that, but it'll be interesting to see. Jackson Lacombe goes at the 12-1, at the 10-1, I'm sorry. Jackson Lacombe has been talked about to no end on the Apples and Ginos podcast, but I really do like him as a defenseman. The question remains, who's going to take that top power play? Is it going to be Olin Zellweger? Is it going to be Jackson Lacombe? Yeah. I think it could still be Jackson Lacombe for my money. What do you think, real quick, Brian, before your pick?
Yeah, I'll go Jackson Lacombe all day. I had Zellweger early in the year, and I was kicking myself for not picking up Lacombe. I think he looks like a great guy. He's probably a great guy. No, he looks like a great player when he's out there. It just really depends on what the new coach staff's going to do. But I thought he wasn't that bad at all in the power play, and I think he's a better overall player. So I say reward him with the power play.
Absolutely. Jake Ottinger goes at the 10-2. So he's our third goalie going after Hellebuck and Bazzi. Then we got Eric Carlson at the 10-3. That could be a really good pick at 10th round. You get a 50-point D-man. Then you got Morgan Riley going at the 10-4. I'm curious to see because Morgan Riley has been a fairly consistent player throughout his career. He could get 40 to 50 points again. He had a down year last year by all accounts, and then the Leafs went with that 5-forward power play. I wonder with the departure of Marner if they get back to going to Morgan Riley, and he could be a value if they do that. So it could be interesting, and unless Matthias Bocelli steps in and becomes Marner 2.0, which I know a lot of Leafs fans are pretty sure that's going to happen. Nate told me Steven Stamkos goes is your pick, Brian, at the 10-5. Very good pick. I had him on my list as well.
Yeah, because why not? Nashville, I think we're all in agreement. Nashville can't get any worse than last year, right? Right?
Yeah. No, I'm with that.
Right? Yeah, please. Yeah, I just don't think they can get any worse than last year. I think he was snake bitten a lot. I think they'll be an improved team. And I think if he's not a point per game player, he's just under. I don't think he's going to be anywhere as bad as he was this past year. And in the 10th round to get me some stammer time, I'm totally fine with it. I am actually really curious about that Morgan Riley pick because I actually had him on my queue because I really don't know what the Leafs are going to do this year. Are they going to go back to Morgan Riley? I don't want that to be the case, but he's also been there for so long. Before Marner took over as the power play quarterback. So that'll be really interesting to see. Worth a shot in the 10th round, absolutely. If only you got points for the playoffs, like Morgan Riley. I don't know why he turns it on so much in the playoffs. You can't do that same thing in the regular season, but it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Bo Horvat after that at the 10-6. Stamkos to me is a really good value pick this year. I think that he has the capability to get back to, at a minimum, like 70 points. I mean, when have we not seen Steven Stamkos get 70 points outside of last year? It's just, it's similar. It's giving me the vibes from the 4th and 5th round. We get Crosby and Ovi. It's just making me feel old. But hopefully Stamkos doesn't feel that way going into this year. I think they'll fit him in a little bit better this time. I think it was really weird between him and Marchessault. Because they're all like right-handed shots, and then Philip Forsberg as well. So it's kind of tough to get that all figured out. But I think it's a really good pick for here where we are on the draft.
That was the issue with Nashville, right? They signed a bunch of shooters, and we're all thinking, who the heck is going to pass them the puck? So hopefully they figured that out in the offseason, longer time playing together. We'll see who is going to be able to make the change here, but I think Stamkos is going to be obviously a large part of that offense. So I'd be really curious to see that. After Stamkos went 10-5, we got Horvat at 10-6, Duchesne at the 10-7, Dylan Cousins, Matt Barzal, and then Drew Doughty at the 10-10. I like to see Jordary stack in the Dallas players there with Hintz and Duchesne. Can't go wrong there. Both guys going to be on the top power play, most likely. So really a big fan of that. Evan, I don't know if you can see this comment, but I'm laughing here because, I think I might have heard this too. Word in the street is Kiefer's developing a hitting allergy. He's allergic to everything else. And if that's the case and he's ends up being allergic to hitting too, you'll be in some serious trouble. That's all I can say. But we'll see. We'll wait and see. I'll let you take your pick here. I'll keep recapping. After Doughty, we got our next goalie, which was Shesterkin. Then we got Boone Jenner. And then Brian Rust, which I got to say, I love Brian Rust. I was able to pick him up last year really late, probably in the 11th round as well. And, when he's healthy, he's putting up a point every game. He's phenomenal. So I really, really like that pick. You're not going to hear any hate from me there. Talk to us about your reasoning for why you went with Boone Jenner and Brian Rust.
God, I love Boone Jenner, man. That guy is an animal. He hits everything he sees, and he just keeps whacking at the puck until it goes into the net. When he came back from injury, I remember I scooped him up to my IR like weeks before he came back from his injury, and I was so pumped to get him. And especially in a category coverage league, I think even if he's second C on the Blue Jackets, I still think he's going to maintain that top power play. And if he can stay healthy, I wouldn't be shocked if he gets to the 50, 60 point total with massive category coverage and peripherals. Brian Rust, again, 60 plus point guy. There's few guys to depend on the Pittsburgh Penguins these days, but him with Crosby, you can depend on top line, top power play deployment. So getting him this late feels pretty good as my third right winger. As you're coming up on your pick, Brian, I'll recap after that. Went Brian Rust at the 11-1. We got Dustin Wolf at the 11-2, Pavel Buchnevich at the 11-3, Logan Cooley at the 11-4, Mark Stone at the 11-5, Quentin Byfield at the 11-6. I was thinking about Quentin Byfield as well because I think he's due to take another step. I'm curious. I'll let you get to your pick and everything, but Logan Cooley, there was something that came out that I saw today on X where he had requested a trade. I don't know how accurate any of that was, but it was all speculation. I just kind of read it, didn't look into it too much. But if that is the case, I'd be curious to see where he would land and what they would do then with their lines and top power play. But again, all speculation. Just saw a post on X, didn't confirm it. Shouldn't be talking about it, but I'm curious to see if that actually comes to fruition. And then Thomas Chabot, the Glass House, goes right before your pick, Brian. Man, I had that guy in some leagues, and he really has the ability to screw over your entire team when you draft them higher than where he's at now. And I think Jake Sanderson has unfortunately supplanted him, but he is going to shoot. So that's a good defenseman with shots on goal coverage there. And I feel like Ottawa has a semi split power play sometimes, so he can get some power play points there as well. Going back to Pavel Buchnevich, some of these St. Louis guys, again, Ryan always talks about it in our drafts when we take St. Louis guys that we just don't know because they're going to split their power play. But I feel like Buchnevich is one of the guys to be on, as well as Kyrou and Robert Thomas. Mm-hmm. And you go with another Apples and Ginos favorite in Troy Terry.
Yeah, Troy Terry, a couple of reasons here. I'm running short on right wingers, and I figured, I can pick up a right wing, Troy Terry. There won't be much hate on Troy Terry if I grab him. Obviously, very high ceiling. I don't think we've seen his best yet. Absolutely no peripherals, but I'm okay with that. I'm very hopeful that Anaheim runs a true power play one, and if they do, he's going to be on that power play one. So the offense, we know how talented he is, so he's definitely going to give me some points, while Brady Tkachuk and Timo Meier and Svechnikov give me the peripherals. So Troy Terry will give me some hits. The other guys will hit everything else in sight, so I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Quick recap. After I went with Troy Terry, we got Gabe Vilardi at the 11-9, Ryan Donato at the 11-10, Fantilli, Cutter Gauthier at the 11-12. Let's take a look here at maybe some of these comments here. This is interesting. I actually had my eyes on him, but am I ruining this for everyone else? Landeskog is going to be the biggest sleeper in every draft this year. He could be. I'd be really curious. Do you think he would get on power play one this year? I know we've talked about this before, but it's very interesting. I'm not sure what Colorado is really going to be doing. How quickly he'll be able to get back up to speed and everything like that. What are your thoughts?
I think he proved it in the playoffs that he can get back to speed. It's frustrating for me. I had Landeskog. I drafted him and put him on my IR immediately. I know some people would do stuff like that. Then you pick up a waiver guy, and it took him forever to come back. He came back in the playoffs. But I think going into this next year, it is interesting. I think he will get a spot on that top power play. I mean, he's the captain. McKinnon loves him. They've got that chemistry. The question is, can he stay healthy, and what is his production going to look like? But I think, mid to late round flyer on Gabe Landeskog, you could do worse.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really argue with that. You could do worse. So I'm totally okay with Landeskog coming in, the next couple picks or so. Should I just snag him now because I'm up soon? No, I won't.
Yeah.
No, I won't. I'll leave that as another beauty that's might be queuing up. I think I've also picked him previously. Let me just double check.
Absolutely.
No.
So I'm looking here, and I love Jordan Nelson giving me the shout out. That's what you call fake news, Evan, on Logan Cooley. Can confirm fake news. Just always love to start discussions and random speculation so that, we can get some inaccurate draft picks here. No, I'm just kidding. So then we had I forget where we left off. You had Troy Terry, then we go Gabe Velarde, Ryan Donato, which is a really good pick at the 11-10. We got Adam Fantilli, 11-11. Love that pick as well. Carter Gauthier, Owen Tippett, really good pick. Jake Wellman, Jonathan Marchessault, Shane Gostisbehere, one of the true power play quarterbacks. Owen Tippett going kind of at the 12-1 is a really good pick. I'm curious to see what his deployment is going to look like under Rick Tocchet. I feel like he plays the style Rick Tocchet likes, and he's a good rush player. I'd love to see if they can get him on that top power play with Michkov to see what he could do between him, Travis Konechny, and Michkov, but we'll have to see how that plays out. Yeah, I don't know about Jonathan Marchessault here. I'm curious what they're going to do with that Nashville power play going back into it. You go with Miro Heiskanen at the 12-5. I love
it. I don't love it. I was listening to Nate and Blake talking about Carolina earlier today, and I was like, I really want Gostisbehere because he's going to put up a lot of points, I guess, and then get him really late in the draft, but absolutely no peripherals. So, you know what? Next best thing, unfortunately, right now is Heiskanen. So I don't think he's going to be power play one. I think that is going to be given to Thomas Harley. If he does get power play one time, then boy, did I ever get a steal this late in the draft. But he's going to get a ton of playing time. Solid player in real life. He had 1 or 2 seasons where he was a stud in fantasy, and I don't expect that out of him. But he'll be on the ice a lot. Could get involved in a lot of the offense. So I'm okay with the pick, I guess, this late in the draft.
Yeah, no, I really do like Miro Heiskanen, and I feel like he's going to fall in a lot of drafts for the reasons we talked about Thomas Harley before. If he's going to take over that top power play. But if you remember, like at the start of the year, like Dallas's PP2 was the one that was cooking. So even if Miro Heiskanen's on PP2 and they don't like completely dominate the time, which I don't think they will, he's still going to be good for, I would say 40 to 50 points. I would have to imagine, at least close to that. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then we got one of our drafters here, Dead Precedence. Pretty happy with my squad so far. I do like a lot of the picks. The Morgan Riley is interesting. Shane Gostisbehere, love that. And then after Miro Heiskanen, we got Neil Pionk, Colton Parayko, and Tyler Toffoli, all some solid picks. Man, Neil Pionk cooked me in some leagues last year. I don't know if you're the same, Brian.
Yeah. He really hurt me. He bruised a lot of egos like a couple times. Neil Pionk, I feel like there was a stretch of time where he was playing like a Cale Makar. Like it lasted like about a week or so, but still it just happened to be the week he was playing against me. So, but that's usually how it goes anyways. So I wasn't too thrilled about that. I love the Neil Pionk pick at 12-6. He's going to give you a lot of peripherals, and obviously he can go for some great runs, get you some points too. I was looking at his stats from last year, and he put up 39 points. And to me, I'm thinking to myself, I thought he put up at least like 50, but 39 just goes to show he's a very effective player for sure. It looks like you went with Anderson and Gus Bus, first goalie for you. I'm not sure where we left off, but I'll just go from 12-7. Parayko, Toffoli, Landeskog at the 12-9, Romanov, Geeky, Rasmus Anderson. You went with Gus Bus. Then we got Braden Schneider, Ivan Barbashev, and Cole Perfetti. Talk to me about Anderson and Gus, and talk to me about how you just sniped Anderson, who I was going to take in the next round.
Yeah, I feel like Rasmus Anderson for Categories League is not like a bad option, really. So let's see. I'm trying to dive into his stats here from last year. So you look at 31 points in 81 games, not the best, but he's got 196 blocks. Let's see, bringing it up too for his shots. He had 163 shots, 196 blocks, only 36 hits. But to get that, where I'm at for a defenseman feels pretty good. And then, I had to go with a goalie just because, I'm filling out the rest of my team. Philip Gustafsson, I feel like he really got slept on last year and was taking that value in drafts, but I'll take him as my number one goalie here.
Yeah, I like it. I remember the league I was in last year, I think Gustafsson was the second last pick of the draft. And he ended up being obviously a stud. Everyone was sleeping on Minnesota. So the fact that you're able to get him this late in the draft is great because, Minnesota's still going to be a good team, especially if they stay healthy. They'll be a great team, and he'll be a huge reason for that because he's a stud in net. So, yeah, no hate for me there. 13-2. Oh, I already did that. 13-2, Schneider, Barbashev, Perfetti. And then we got Sorokin at the 13-5 and Jacob Trouba, one of the peripheral kings. It's really interesting. Anaheim now has the peripheral kings on their team with Gudas. They got Trouba. They got some big beefers on that team.
They definitely do.
Yeah. What do you think about the Trouba pick at the 13-6?
I do like it. Yeah, he's got a ton of hits, ton of blocks. He's not going to get a ton of points, but he's an absolute banger for Cats. Sam Montembeault goes after that at the 13-7, which is a really good pick as well. I believe in him as a goalie. I believe in Montreal as a team, really. But he's going to face a ton of shots, so he's going to get a ton of saves. Going back a little bit, I love the Cole Perfetti pick at the 13-4 as well. He's going to take that top spot on the power play with Nick Ehlers' departure. And I feel like when he gets that deployment, he could be reaching at least the 50-point mark, if not higher. And you go with a goalie that I took previously, and I absolutely love Mackenzie Blackwood.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't even think of checking to make sure. No, okay. Yeah, I didn't take it last time. Oh, that could have been bad. I could have been instantly have lost this the poll between you and I if I picked a different player. Yeah, I went with Mackenzie Blackwood just because he's going to get a lot of wins, obviously, on a stacked Colorado team. His save percentage, he was pretty well protected. I guess he played really, really well for Colorado when he was traded. So I think it's a safe pick here. I was getting a little FOMO with everyone else taking their goalies. I figured, you know what, I may as well go ahead and take a goalie. I hope Nate and Blake aren't listening now because this is the 13th round. It's not the 18th, 19th, 20th round. So I'm sure we'll hear from them.
It's all right. We're 0G here. They know that. But yeah, I mean, we're getting into the rounds where you can still get really good goalies at value like we just did. Philip Gustafson and Mackenzie Blackwood in the 13th round is awesome. I feel like in a lot of drafts, a lot of these goalies would be gone and you're kind of left with true 0G options. So we're getting like true number one starters with top 5 upside in the 13th round. So that's completely fine considering where the rest of our teams are at. And then we got Jared McCann going at the 13-9, which I really like. Frank Vetrano, Alexi Protas. What do you think about Jared McCann? I'm curious because he's been kind of a hyped up player on Seattle for a while. He just doesn't get the consistent minutes, and I feel like he's been a somewhat inconsistent player, especially last year.
Yeah. 61 points in 82 games last year, 62 and 80 the year before. I feel like he had a much more of a down year last year, and it really wasn't the case. So I guess, yeah, I actually like Jared McCann as a player. I just don't think he's ever gotten enough ice time. And what they do in Seattle with their power plays. So if they could just keep him on the ice a little bit longer, he's got a great shot. I would like to see him, break out a little bit more. So I think it all just comes down to coaching. I think Jared McCann can be a great late round stud when it comes to the points. Obviously, he doesn't really hit, doesn't do any of that, but you're going to get some points from Jared McCann. If only his ice time would go up, then definitely love that. After Jared McCann, Vetrano goes. Vetrano, as we know, is kind of the opposite. He puts up a lot of shots. He puts up a lot of hits. He does a lot of that in peripherals. We talked about this last time, but just kind of err on the side of caution with Vetrano with the way his production's probably going to be declining with the way the team shaped up with the new coach in town and everything like that. So very curious to see that there. After Vetrano, we got Protas and then Chris Kreider, I totally forgot about, followed by Josh Norris. Between Vetrano, Protas, Kreider, who's your favorite pick?
Definitely Kreider. Great pick there. I feel like he's going to get the top power play for sure. He's going to be trying to teach some of these young guys the right way to do things. At the 13-12, Chris Kreider for potential bounce back for 30 goals, 50 points with a lot on the power play would be a great option, especially on those off nights for the Anaheim schedule. And so that's a really good pick. And then we got Josh Norris at the 14-1. Jake Neighbors goes at the 14-2, which he sneakily is pretty good value in Cats leagues with shots, hits, blocks. Chris Letang at the 14-3. Sergei Bobrovsky at the 14-4. Chris Letang is somebody that I can't quite wrap my head around as a defensive draft pick just because, Erik Karlsson is still the better offensive option on that power play, even if they did kind of go back and forth between the two throughout the year. I feel like Chris Letang's time is kind of done. Maybe I'm calling that too early, but I just can't see him getting over 40 points again this year. And Brian, you go with the Zucchini Man at 14-5.
Zucchini Man, yeah. Went with the Zucchini Man. I want any kind of exposure to Kirill Kaprizov. I already got Jeek, which I love, but I love Zuccarello. I had him 2 years ago, I think it was, and he just played with Zuccarello, or not Zuccarello. Zuccarello played with Kaprizov, and it just boosted his points. So if he can stay on a line with him, I love that in the 14th round. Obviously, doesn't do too much peripherally. That's not a word. Peripherally, but there have been occasions where I see him putting up a couple blocks a game, and then obviously goes for absolutely nothing the next couple games. But I'm okay with that. Sporadic. He's going to get me points. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, no, love that pick at the 14-5. I feel like Zucchini Man's going later and later every draft, but he's great value. I think he could easily get 60, 70 points again with really good power play exposure to Kaprizov. Will Cooley at the 14-6 is a great snipe. I was looking at him as well. Then Aiden Hill, Eli Tolvanen, who I took in the prior draft. Yeah, man, Zuccarello, great pick, Brian. You're every time I'm looking at your team, it's the same thing as last draft. I'm looking at your team, being like, wow, like he's getting some really good picks, really good value for initially for the category coverage. Now you're covering your points this late in the draft.
Listen. I go to bed, I dream about the next mock draft. So I haven't talked to my wife in 3 weeks. Been focused on. No, I'm joking. Yeah, so I'm gonna let you think about this, but I just want to pull up a couple of comments here. If Tippett can't bounce back, he probably gets traded. That would be really interesting because, yeah, I think we all thought Tippett was a little bit better than he is. He chucks the puck a lot. I would like to see, a lot more pucks go in the net, but we'll have to wait to see if that is the case. It'd be curious, very interested to see what they could get back if they do trade Tippett, because he does cover a lot peripherally. There I go again with that word, peripherally. So it'll be really interesting to see there. I love the friendly fire. Snipe me on Cooley. Love to see it. Love to see everyone engaged here. And then where'd we go with? After Will Cooley went Aiden Hill, Tolvanen, Tony DeAngelo, Will Smith, Radko Gudas, Evander Kane at the 14-12, which I love. I took Evander Kane in the last draft we did, so I had to stay far away from this time, unfortunately. But Evander Kane could be really interesting. Darcy Kuemper. We know LA, great defensive environment. Darcy Kuemper thrived there. Again, can't hate on your picks, but talk us through your reasoning why you pick Evander Kane, I guess, at the 14-12.
It's going to be interesting to see what he can do in Vancouver and where he gets placed. I would have to imagine he gets power play one. There could be an argument for Jake DeBrusk or Connor Garland over him, but I think he's the better option there for the forecheck and maintaining the cycle and the corners on that top power play. And so I think he can get to kind of, a 50-point-ish season with good shots, good hits, really good peripherals. So I don't hate that in the 14th round. I did look at Radko Gudas and got sniped right before my Dream Killer. Dream Killer is a steady sniper, but really like that pick. But then Darcy Kuemper is pretty easy for me. I took him in our points league, so not the Cats. I'm allowed to do it. Mm-hmm. But I really love my goalie tandem, actually. If we're calling this 0G, but I mean, 13th round Gustafsson, 15th round Kemper. Can't hate on that. Anders Lee goes at the 15-2. Another really good pick for category coverage, hits, shoots, blocks, and then power play points. And then Linus Ullmark at the 15-3. We got Demidov going at the 15-4. I love that. And then Gavrikov for his blocks at the 15-5. Any thoughts on any of those before your upcoming pick, Brian?
Yeah, wow. Casper goes the 15-6. That's exactly who I had. Okay, so reshuffling here. No, I really like Demidov. I think we saw early glimpses of what he's capable of, but I think to your point earlier, I don't think he gets onto power play one, at least not to start. But it's like what we said before. If you like a guy, you got to go and get the guy. So I think he can be an absolute stud. If you're going to get him in the 15th round, love that. Ullmark at the 15-3. I like Ullmark, especially this late in the draft too. Again, I've talked about Ottawa plenty. I think they're a good team. They're growing. They're better. They're going to be a better team. I don't know how they're going to do in the Atlantic. It's pretty competitive, but I love Ullmark. We know what he's capable of. So that's my thought on Ullmark and Demidov.
Absolutely. We got some guys sniping each other here in the comments. Snipe me on Cooley. Sniped you back. I love the banter.
Yeah.
So we got guys sniping each other. This is an apples and Ginos draft, so that's going to happen. We got some sharp minds in here. Can't get all the picks that you want when you want them. But yeah, no, I love the Demidov pick. I picked him in one of my prior drafts. It remains to be seen if they put him on the top power play over Line, which is really what Line is there for and getting paid for. But Demidov has shown such promise, and I think the hype is real for that player. After Casper, we get Jonathan Huberdeau at the 15-7, which I think can still be a good pick. Peripherally, he's not going to do very much, but point-wise he is. And then, Brian, you go with Anze Kopitar.
Yeah, I'm looking at Anze Kopitar. I'm just looking, again, for someone with that's going to get me some points. He'll get me some points. Obviously, we know he's declined. He's on the back nine of his career. But I still think he will be on power play one. I don't think Byfield takes him over this year. He could, but until that happens, I'll roll with it here. And again, in the 15th round, if I needed to drop him because he's not doing anything, I'm okay with that. But any exposure I can get also to Kempe, because they'll probably be playing on the same line, I love that as well. Yeah,
I can't hate that. Anze Kopitar is still going to be good for easily like 55 to probably even like 65 points, all things considered. After that, we got Granlund, Mason McTavish, Matt Coronado, and Travis Sanheim. Really love McTavish. I wish he had left wing eligibility like he did last year. But when he's on the ice, he's driving the play, I feel like, and he's a great finisher as well. Hits a bit. Matt Coronado, we kind of saw what he can do as well. If only he got that top line with Huberdeau and Kadri. I think he could easily get to the 50, 60 point threshold with a ton of shots as well. Any of those picks sticking out to you after Kopitar, Brian?
After Kopitar, I actually had a Coronado pick. I had him in my queue. I was thinking maybe I can snipe him in the next round. But I like Coronado, up and coming, looks good. If he gets on the line with Kadri too, I think that goes a long way. We've talked Kadri to death, but he's always a late round snipe. So, yeah, I love that. Now I got to think about my next pick here. Okay.
Yeah. Remember, it's never too early to take someone.
Yeah.
So we got Nick Schmaltz then going at the 16-1, and then Noah Hannafin. It's interesting. Noah Hannafin is such an interesting talking piece. I feel like going into last year, there was a lot of speculation that he was going to be the power play quarterback, and they still maintained with Shea Theodore. But then when Shea Theodore went down with his injury, Hannafin steps into that top power play and still crushes it. So if you look at the players, I feel like Noah Hannafin's actually a better all-around defensive player. The offensive upside going to Shea Theodore. Shea Theodore can shoot the puck more, better facilitator. But when you watch him, it's almost like the Evan Bouchard effect where, offensively you're watching them, they're doing really good. But defensively, I've seen him make some pretty bad puck playing errors. So then we go Joey Decord at the 16-3, Jordan Binnington at the 16-4, and Brian, you're crushing my soul by taking Simone Edvinsson at the 16-5 as I had him in my queue.
Sniped. I should put that in the comment too. I think that's what we're all doing, just sniping each other here. No, I'm looking at my team here. Again, at this point in the draft, I'm really looking to kind of fill the holes. And I had a gap missing in the defense spot. And I know that someone that, could be a stud. So I figured I'd snipe him. And I had a feeling you were maybe thinking about him. So I figured I'd get him before you did.
That's very smart. You did it. And this comment kind of nails it. Ted Precedent. Drafting in July, it's all snipers.
Yeah. That's very true.
True statement. We're doing these mocks and we're just sniping each other, but it's good practice for the real drafts. This is why you get in here. This is why you draft with us and follow along, because you learn some of our mistakes going through it, and you can definitely capitalize on some of these picks and info going through the draft boards here.
Mistakes? We make mistakes?
Not us, but just had to throw it in there. I mean, and then we got Casual Bowl of Ramen. Evanson was my next one. Payback for Coronado. Yep. That's as we go along here. I'll recap real quick, Brian, then I'll let you talk as I'm thinking about my picks. We get Zetterlund going at the 16.6, Patrick Kane at the 16.7 I really like as well, and Lucas Dostal at the 16.8. I think he could absolutely crush it this year as a off-night goalie as well. What do you think about some of those picks, Brian?
Yeah, I love Dostal. I think Anaheim's going to be a lot better than they were last year. And I think obviously with Gibson gone, he's going to be the focal point there on the back end. So really, really like that. Zetterlund, he was so good with San Jose and then just is no longer a priority in Ottawa. So I would love to see him move up the lineup if possible. If that is the case, I think this could be a great pick, but I'm just not feeling too confident with Zetterlund, to be honest. After Dostal went with Markstrom, we got Zegras and then Kent Johnson. So two peripheral gods here. I'm totally joking, of course. Zegras and Kent Johnson can score a lot. We know that. We know what they're capable of. So I like those picks, especially in the 16th round. You're definitely looking for some guys that are going to give you that points advantage as well. So I do like both of those. After Kent Johnson, we got Evan at the 16-12 and the 17-1. I'll let him take some time to take those thoughts. Actually, no, he went with Tyler Seguin at the 16-12. I feel like Tyler Seguin also falls a lot in drafts, so I love that pick. You saw what he was able to do last year when he was healthy. So if he can keep that up, then, or not even keep that up, just spread out over the year. I think that's a great pick. And then you went with the guy I can't pronounce. I'm not going to try to pronounce because I've never been able to get it right. So talk to us about your players there, Evan.
Yeah, absolutely. So I went with Tyler Seguin at the 16-12. People kind of forget how good he was, going into last year, even again, like with kind of limited deployment, but you forget, how good some of these players are. Tyler Seguin last year, 20 games played, had 21 points, 9 goals, 12 assists. Mm-hmm. I mean, do I think that he's going to be a point per game guy the whole year, especially with his deployment? No. But can Tyler Seguin on a second or third line, second power play Dallas team get, 50, 55 points? Absolutely, I think. So I think he can continue to do that. Zeev Buium, I'm very high on. I definitely think that he could take and maintain that top power play role in Minnesota, and I don't want to be out on that because that power play, when everyone's healthy, can be lethal. And in the 17th round as a top power play defenseman, I can see that if he doesn't end up being that, or they continue to run Brock Faber out there for 30 points, then I can hit the waiver wire for some guys that are going to be some hits and blocks.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing with like Brock Faber is in real life, he's a great defenseman, like solid defenseman, but fantasy, not so much. So I would love to see Faber no longer on the power play. They tried it with Spurgeon last year. It didn't really work. Like, yeah, if they can get Buium, is that his name? Buium?
Buium, yeah.
Buium. If they get Buium on there, I think he could be a great pick. I'll let you recap here when I look at these picks.
It's like I'm listening to Nate and Blake trying to say Martin Feravari, then Fur. So after we get Zeev Buium, we do have Feravari, and then we got Snuggerud at 17-3. Brad Marchand at the 17-4 is a very good pick by Tristan Bongo. Shout out. Jake DeBrusk at the 17-5. Logan Thompson at the 17-6. Elias Lindholm at the 17-7, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at the 17-8. What a pick that is. I did not know he was still out there, and that is a smash of a pick, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, Nugent-Hopkins, he had a horrible year last year, but you'd think he would have a little bit of bounce back. I was looking at his stats over the last 6 years, and it literally goes in rotation of a great year, mediocre year, horrible year, great year, mediocre year, horrible. So I'm hoping this is the 100-point season. No.
Yeah, you could be right.
It won't be right, but I think he'll put up more points than he did last year. It doesn't give me much peripherally. I got to go back to a dictionary after this, I'm telling you. But yeah, I like him, his exposure on the power play. One, Edmonton's still going to have a good power play, so worth a shot, especially in the 17th round. Why not?
Yeah, no, I don't hate that at all. He's somebody I think, too, that will fall in drafts because of his production this past year, but he could easily get back to closer to a point per game, maybe 60, 70-point pace, and to get that in the 17th round is nuts. And then after that, we go Cam Fowler at the 17-9, Braden Chen at the 17-10, Perek at the 11, which I considered between him and Buyum. I don't know if he's going to overtake that top power play over Uyghur. I feel like it's a safer spot for Buyum, but they're both two defensive rookies to keep an eye on. UC Saros at the 17-2. Great spot for him here. I think he is going to bounce back with the rest of Nashville. He's shown that he is a top tier goalie in the league. Nashville just truly had one of the worst years you could ever think to happen to them, especially when everyone was pumping their tires saying, they're going to contend for the cup when they add Marchessault, Stamkos. I think that just kind of happened, but I really like UC Saros here in this spot. How about you, Brian?
I think UC is absolutely due for a bounce back. I've taken Stammer because I think Nashville's going to have a big bounce back. So I can't hate on it. I like the pick. And he's 2 years removed from being one of the top goalies in the league. So if Nashville can get anywhere remotely to that, I think he'll be a great fit there.
Absolutely. And then I'll kind of let you get into your pick here. So we got UC Saros at the 17-12. Then we got Tyson Forrester at the 18-1, Joseph Full at the 18-2, Matthias Michelli at the 18-3, Carol Vejmelka at the 18-4, and Brian is up with his pick. Going back real quick at the 17-6, Logan Thompson's very interesting to me as a goaltender. I feel like he's going to be like a decent 0G option this year because I don't think a lot of people are going to take him very high, kind of predicting a Washington letdown year after the insane Ovi run. But he definitely proved that he is a very capable goalie as the number one. So I'm interested to see where he goes. Someone in my league last year got him with their last pick, and he ended up being one of the best goalies. So interesting pick and good 0G option, I think. And you go with none other than Blake Coleman.
Yeah, I had to make sure I didn't draft him in our last one. That's why I was pressing myself for time. I was torn between him and someone else. We'll have to wait and see because I might pick him in the next round. But yeah, Blake Coleman, obviously another guy in the back nine of his career, but he still gives you a lot of peripherals. Does have some offense still in the tank. So I love the guy's energy when he plays. You ever watch Blake Coleman play hockey? He looks like he looks like he hangs out in Nichushkin with their white powder, before they get to the game. He's just jacked up all the time. He's a real hockey player, and I love it. So maybe I took him just for the rush of adrenaline I get watching him play. But he hits, he blocks a little bit, he'll shoot, he'll give you some points. Third line player typically. So whatever, 18th round, why not take a chance to Blake Coleman?
I do love that. I remember watching him when he was in Tampa and just being absolutely stunned. I was like, who is this guy? Just the rush, the hits, the shots, the way he could score. It's really just his deployment in Calgary that kind of hinders him. If he got better deployment, I think he could provide much better value. But in the Cats League here, in the 18th round, really good. Absolutely.
Yeah. After I went with Blake Coleman, we got Mike Matheson going to the 18-6, and then William Eklund. What do you think of William Eklund? I personally am a big fan of Eklund. I think he's going to be a stud for years to come.
Yeah, no, really good pick. I absolutely think that as well. He was in my queue, so yet another snipe, but we're kind of used to that here as we discussed in July. But no, really good pick. He's going to be a part of that San Jose rebuild and alongside Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll let you think of your next picks, and I'll do the little bit of a recap here. After Eklund, we got Connor McMichael, who had a great year this past year, followed by Sean Monahan. Very interesting to know that I totally forgot that he was available. So the 18th round of the 18-9 is an absolute snipe. I love that. Brant Clark at the 18-10, and then Stefan Nason at the 18-11. Very interesting. Stefan Nason. Wow. I need to do something with this. I can't speak. Nason, I actually really like Nason. He's a guy who hits a lot. So you're going to get that peripheral, but he was also a staple on Power Play 1 for a lot of the season. So if that's the case, if he gets back to Power Play 1, we know what they can do. We know what they're capable of doing, the Devils. And I think that would be awesome to see him there. But taking a flyer on him in the 18th round, I do that all day, especially in a Cats League. After Nason Evan went with Owen Power, then Ryan O'Reilly, followed by that's who I was going to take. Olivia in the 19-2. Snipe, another snipe. Dream killer, crushing my dreams. Swayman and then Demko. Evan, talk to us about Power and O'Reilly.
Yeah, you'll kind of have to get your thoughts together here to pick another player. So yeah, I actually, this kind of line up until my two picks, I was kind of sniped left and right as well. I had William Eklund at the 18-7, Connor McMichael at the 18-8, Sean Monahan at the 18-9, Brain Clark at the 18-10. All of those guys were in my queue. So great picks by all these fine managers. And then, so when I got to Owen Power, he's got over 100 shots, 100 blocks. He's clearly not going to overtake the top power play from Rasmus Dahlin. But if Dahlin gets injured, I think Owen Power is in line to get that. I don't know that they love Bowen Byram as much. And Owen Power did look like the better offensive defenseman and truly defensive defenseman last year. So I don't hate that pick. Ryan O'Reilly at the 19-1. If we're betting on a Nashville bounce back, he's going to be a part of it. He's really the only center they have. So I'm kind of riding the coattails there of Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos, and Ryan O'Reilly being on that top power play. Then we get Olivier, Jeremy Swayman at the 19-3, Thatcher Demko at the 19-4, another great pick for 0G. Anthony Cirelli at the 19-5, Brock Nelson at the 19-6, Alexi Lafreniere at the 19-7, and you go with Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen at 19-8, Brian.
Yeah, strictly on the basis that he's got the best name in hockey, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, No, I like UPL just because he's got the lion's share of the net. I was torn between him and another goalie, but I really like him. I didn't pick him last time, so that's even more important, so I didn't step on my own feet here. But Buffalo, historically, they're going to disappoint us every year. But with that being said, they give up a lot of shots, or they have in the past. Hopefully they improve that. But, I think he's going to be a lock in net. He can be a stud in net. So, taking a flyer on UPL this late in the draft, I'm happy with.
Yeah, absolutely.
After I went with UPL, we got Merz Lincoln's going at the 19-9, Nikishin at the 19-10, and then Teuvo Teravainen at the 19-11. I know Ryan is probably looking at this and thinking to himself, Merz Lincoln's is going to be replaced soon by Jet Greaves. I'd be really curious, really interested to see if that does happen, but we'll have to wait and see. 19-12, we got Stuart Skinner. What do you think about Stuart Skinner this year? Do you think Edmonton's going to find a goalie? I feel like they have to, no?
Yeah, it feels like they should. He's just, you watch him and it's Jekyll and Hyde every game. Sometimes he plays on top of his head, and other times he's letting in 4 or 5 easy goals. It's not even like, they're like really hard shots or terrible angles. But yeah, so I'm not big on Stuart Skinner. I got him in like the late 9th or like 10th round last year. And I thought that was like good value because Edmonton's going to win a ton of games. But yeah, man, and I don't know. I'm not big on Stuart Skinner, and I don't know what Edmonton's going to do. I think it would be in their best interest if they kind of picked up another goalie. But where are you at? Are you getting any Stuart Skinner in any of your leagues? Or
honestly, here's what's important. I think in a category league, I would actually be okay with Stuart Skinner because what I would do is if you have 2 goalies, you got 2 studs, you can literally bench him when they play Colorado because you're going to get enough. You're going to get the minimum 3 goalie starts or whatever the minimum is. And you can play him against worse teams that he's likely to have a better team. So you can be strategic about it, and I think he can give you some value. But to be honest, I think there's other goalies that I would pick before him, obviously, but you can definitely work around it. And then we got another snipe because the goalie I was going to pick was Stolarz, but I'm used to it. It's fine. We're all happy. So it's fine, guys. It's fine. After Stu Skin went Zadorov, Nazar, Stoli the goalie, Kevin Lankinen, and then I have to go put my thinking cap on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anthony Stolarz in the 20th round is great 0G right there. Could easily be like one of the top goalies and getting him in the 20th round, which is why we continue to preach not to take high goalie picks. I think the Teuvo Teravainen pick at 19-11, a few picks back, was really good as well. I considered him. He's dual eligible for category coverage. He's not going to give you a ton of hits, blocks, anything like that. He doesn't shoot a ton, but for the power play points and the assists, he is going to rack those up with Bedard, I think, especially for like a 19th round. And then you go with Jason Zucker. I thought a really good pick. He's going to get that category coverage, top power play, dual eligible as well.
Yeah. I mean, he played really well on Buffalo's top power play. Surprisingly, I don't know if it surprised you, but it surprised me. But if he stays in the top power play, I'm totally okay with picking him in the 20th round here. Gives me a lot of the peripheral coverages, which of course I need. Yeah, I'll take a flyer in Zucker any day.
Yeah, absolutely a great pick. I know Nate and Blake did their Buffalo projections, and Zucker was part of their perfect Buffalo power play as they're giving instructions and laying it out for the new coach, or for Lindy, rather, not the new coach, but this is what you got to do, and they should listen to us because knowing fantasy hockey is directly going to translate into more wins for their organization and playoffs
Absolutely.
too. So
Absolutely. And I got to read a couple of these comments. This is awesome. Jordan said, but Skinner in the 19th round, come on. Like, yeah, you're right. You could definitely, like, Skinner in the 19th round can be a steal. And then the very next comment he had was, never mind, I should have taken Stolarz. So, yeah, it happens. That's fantasy, right? That's mock drafts for you. That's why we definitely preach it to pick goalies late. But picking up Stuart Skinner, definitely not a bad idea in the 19th round. Like, you're not going to hear us hate on it. Just think there was a different goalie or a better option, but still love that pick nonetheless. After I went with Zucker, we got Rossi and Gooley, 27. Gooley's very interesting to me. I think he's a great player. Oh my gosh! And then Malkin goes at the 28. That's crazy. What do you think about Malkin and 20th round, great, but what do you think about him this year?
Yeah, I'm not too high on Malkin, just like the rest of the Penguins, outside of, again, like a 4th round Crosby or Brian Rust where I got him. I'm not going to say it's bad because it's 20th round Malkin, but what are we really expecting from him? 60 points, 65 at best, which is good for like a center in the 20th round. Injuries might catch up to him with the age factor and the declining Pittsburgh team. So, I'm not huge, but in the 20th round, who knew he was still out there? I wouldn't take him in some of my drafts, so that's why I kind of don't look for him, but still not bad.
See, and this is why we fade centers. Like, you can get a Malkin who's going to put up 60, 65 points maybe in the 20th round. That's absolutely incredible. Just to recap here, because we got Malkin, then we got Lazone, Patty Laine at the 20 round 10 mark, PLD at 2011, and then you go with Leo Carlson. So I love that pick to end the draft. I know Nate and Blake would love that pick to end the draft. So I guess final thoughts, comments, and maybe we can pick out a couple of our favorite players that we saw other teams pick here today. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, this Jordan, no Stankoven might be criminal. Almost grabbed them. I did consider it, but I've got too many Carolina guys. But that's a great point. Looking at some of these teams, I think everyone did a great job. Again, I look at your team, Brian. I feel like, again, you went top heavy with category coverage, but later got some really good guys for points. I'm always looking at Dream Killer's team. I feel like he's always absolutely killing it in these drafts. McDavid, Sider, JT Miller, some really good value there. I look at Tristan Bongo's team, Draisaitl, Bouchard, nice little Edmonton stack. Then he follows up with Tage and Yossi and Celebrini. That's a really powerful lineup there. Yeah. How about you? Anything that's catching your eye?
Yeah, Lil Conky at the 13-12 mark picks up Kreider. I think I love that pick. I think Kreider is going to fit in really well with Anaheim, and he's definitely able to score you some goals, and that's a very important category to be covering. So I love to see that. I also see Dead President Slavkovsky, the 9-9, Gossesper at the 12-4. I said he sniped me on that, so I love both of those picks. I think it's what's really going to separate or differentiate you from the other teams is if you can really get some value later on in the rounds. And I think everyone here did a really good job with that. So hopefully everyone plays in other leagues as well, so you can go win those leagues. Because if we all play in the same league together, there's going to be some very unhappy people. That's all I could say.
Well, this is what these mocks are, man. They're good practice to figure out who to take and when in different types of leagues, points and categories. So it just kind of gives you good practice. Even if you're not drafting with us, it's good to walk through it and watch it. I feel like, every time I watch a mock draft, I learn something. Oh, I should have considered this player for this reason. So the more practice makes perfect. And by the time we get to our real drafts, you might as well just hand us the trophy.
I couldn't agree anymore. You've already given me my flowers too much already. You say how much better my team was this week versus last week, and that just comes from practice. So appreciate everyone who's taught me and continues to teach me. So I love that. Evan, any final comments before we hop off here today?
No, I thought we did our best considering we didn't have the third part of our trio here, Ryan. We're missing him, but he's in that empty spot at the bottom right. But next time he'll hopefully join us. And but I'm thankful that I got probably a better team without him here.
That's right. He wasn't there to snipe you, but awesome. Well, hey, that's all we've got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value and helped you get just a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. Many thanks to the band there for supplying the music for the podcast. Be sure to check out their Spotify as well. We appreciate your time. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time.